I've heard before that Turku and Finland has the best educational system in the world. For me, as a mother of 2 kids, this is very important to have happy kids at school and to be a secure environment.
Se tuntuu tosi mukavalta, että nämä yliopiston biotekniikan opiskelijat opettaa meitä, koska nekin on opiskelijoita niin kuin mekin, niin me ollaan tavallaan siinä suhteessa samantasoisia. Ja sitten kun niitä on vielä 3, niin sitten ne pystyy auttamaan meitä koko ajan, että ei tule niin kuin kiire siinä.
Saa vähän niiden opiskelijoidenkin näkökulmaa tähän asiaan ja heidän niin kuin tämmöisiä kokemuksia näihin projekteihin.
Täällä on vielä tosi paljon bioalan yrityksiä ja on lääkefirmoja, useita niin kuin mahdollisuuksia sitten opiskelujen jälkeen sitten työllistyä täällä näin, että se antaa hyvät mahdollisuudet jokaiselle opiskelijalle sitten jo opiskeluaikoina päästä tutustumaan niihin alan yrityksiin.
Good morning, good afternoon, dear colleagues, and of course all our friends from the City of Turku. Welcome to today's webinar about the STEAM Turku initiative. It is actually an interesting path from all the way from pre-primary to tertiary education, where STEAM is included in all the levels of education. As we all know, STEM or STEAM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and when the A is added, arts is also included. STEM education is one of the key factors in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, especially SDG 4, ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education and promoting lifelong learning opportunities for all. This is why all the fields of STEM or STEAM are vital to achieving these goals, because the commonly utilized real-world complex problems as instructional contexts through inquiry-based and experiential teaching and learning is an easy way to approach to promote the 21st century skills, which are more and more needed in today's world. STEM education, as we also see or saw in the video, they are seen to promote employability skills, entrepreneurship, and innovation by integrating engineering and technology with science and mathematics, and of course also arts. I think that these above mentioned things are also the key points and elements in the STEAM Turku program that we are hearing more about today. So, as the next step, I'm more than happy to give the floor to my previous colleagues from the City of Turku, how the STEAM Turku is working in practice there. And of course, it's also a pleasure because Turku is my hometown, so it's always nice to hear good news from Turku. If you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to put them in the chat box during the presentation, and we will answer them after they have finished the presentation. So thank you, and I hope you will enjoy the presentation, and I think it's Katri or Matti who is starting, so please go on.
Thank you so much, Jukka, for your opening words, and good morning and good afternoon to everybody in this webinar. It's really glad to be talking here and give a presentation about STEAM Turku. So without any more words, I think that we continue to some details about some basic things about STEAM. My name is Matti Mäkelä. I'm head of the project management office here in City of Turku. And we are mainly supporting our educational development projects with about a bit more than 20 people in our office, and on a yearly basis around 500-600 teachers part-time working in different projects, which of course STEAM is one of the most important. Yearly budget in our development project is around 10 million euros. And STEAM Turku is a science and technology path in early childhood education, basic education, and secondary level education, which means upper secondary schools and vocational education. So this is what it makes STEAM Turku exceptional in Finland, is that we really concentrate in the whole path of the educational system. So starting in preschools and go through the basic education to secondary level, and of course there to Turku Technology Campus, which means our local institutions of higher education, Turku University, Åbo Academy, which is the Swedish-speaking university, and to University of Applied Sciences. And like Jukka already said, the STEAM comes from the word science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. But let's go further. So a few words just very briefly about Turku. Turku is among the 3 biggest urban areas in Finland and among the 10 biggest in Northern Europe. And the population of city of Turku is around 200,000 people, and with the suburbs of surroundings it's 350,000, and in the whole of Southwest Finland we have 700,000 people. Major industries: biotechnology, ICT, maritime and creative industries. And if with some pictures, the same things that well, first of City of Turku education, we have over 40,000 students and the staff is 3,700. And here you can see numbers about daycare centers, comprehensive schools, upper secondary schools, and vocational schools. And with these numbers, we are of course one of the biggest education providers in Finland. And here you can see about Turku is the oldest city in Finland. Turku Castle was already built during the 12th century. Turku will be 800 years old as a city in 2029. You can see the biggest luxury cruisers in the world are built here. Universities are big, and ICT is important. And there is on the right-hand corner, there's Paavo Nurmi, still the most successful athlete in history of the Olympic Games. He won 9 Olympic gold medals and 3 silver medals in 1920s, and he's Turku-born runner. And then to the STEAM. So the STEAM Turku started a bit more than 2 years ago when City of Turku signed a contract with Turku Technology Campus, which means our four institutions of higher education which provide technology studies in universities and in universities of applied sciences. And STEAM Turku is the idea is to cooperate with Technology Campus and to make the technology more and engineering, math and physics, etc. more interesting, and make sure that we will have more motivated, skillful students in higher education, also in secondary level in field of technology. And it's made possible with funding from the City of Turku. Every year city government gives us about €250,000, but then of course we will apply more funds from the usual suspects, European Union and the National Board of Education, Ministry of Education in Finland. So on a yearly basis, our STEAM Turku budget has been around 1.2–1.3 million euros. And here are the basic goals what we have. So the increase the appeal of science and technology, create this science and technology path from basic preschool through basic education to secondary education and higher education, create new solutions, learning environments, new paths to higher education, create new more forms of cooperation in regional, national and international level, and also between different fields of education. And of course, we, like I said, that we will we apply all the time, apply for more funding for STEAM projects and pilots, and there, for example, there are example in September 2019 when we had 18 projects. So it's pretty much the same number at today, but and the last year it was around 20 projects. Let's go further. And here it's just a divided STEAM process 2020, so you can see how many projects we had back then. And we don't go into the details, but you can see that there are projects going on in every level of in preschools, basic education, upper secondary schools, vocational education and training, and of course also projects that involved all these sectors of education. And let's go further. Our values: participation, openness, innovativeness. So we believe that there is a personal path to this world of science and technology for everybody, not only who are very interested in math or science and who are very motivated and very talented, but everybody, and that includes our pupils, students, and also teachers. So you can use science and technology in different ways of work and the different ways of teaching and learning. Openness: everything we do, we want to share. So all information, all the best practices are shared and in our web page and other web pages in webinars, seminars, workshops, etc. And of course, we welcome everybody to cooperate with us, and also, of course, we are aware that we don't have all the knowledge that we are ready to learn from others, and we have done very successful so in last years. And innovativeness, that we want to find new solutions and opportunities, and also, and more importantly, we believe that making mistakes is important, and we learn from the failures and maybe even bad ideas. And just bit more about our values and philosophy. So we believe in the future. So not like my teenage years favorite band Sex Pistols. We don't believe that there is no future. What we have bright future. We have solutions, and also we can see, in contrary what the Doris Day said, that we can see whatever will be. And that, of course, a good example is that we also believe that new technology and the new innovations create better future for us and for mankind in general. So we believe in kind robots rather than a Terminator 2 kind of future. And just a few words about results, but you hear more from my colleagues a bit later and then in more details at what had happened in preschool and basic education and secondary level. But during the first 2 years, we had over 15,000 participants. So it tells that this has been really huge. And we have created higher education opportunities in technology to same kind of things for the opportunities in the secondary level, created new models to increase the attractiveness of technology education, new cooperation models, and new direct routes to university and studies and the studies at the University of Applied Sciences. So, for example, doing certain courses already in the secondary level, you have a study place in the university. But you hear about these more later on. Different kinds of innovative experiments: STEAM it for teachers and STEAM Junior for youngsters, Beyond 2030 science competition for secondary level students, new cooperation with businesses and enterprises, new pedagogical solutions, for example, AR, using AR, VR, whatever. So huge amount of things we have tried. I could speak about these 3 or 4 hours, but I was told that I only have 15 minutes, so I have to go further. So please, let's. And there is some more about the cooperation in basic, in regional level, national and transnational level. So now cooperating with Philippines. So this is how far we have gone so far, but so this is good start in our Asian cooperation. And this is science and technology pad, and like I said, that you will hear more details a bit later. But basically, very briefly to explain this, that in preschools and in basic education, we want to raise awareness and make youngsters interested in science, math, and technology. And in secondary level, we go to more to the details and give them more tools to go continue their studies in a higher education or use technology in the working life. And then the question, like Jukka already said, that in some countries we talk about STEM, and in some places we have added arts there and speak STEAM like we do here in Turku and in Finland in general. And we often ask, how is art included in STEAM Turku? And just a very short answer that art has always been part of, art and science, technology, math, they are always linked in many ways. For example, if we talk about quantum physics, quarks are in very essence and in very core of quantum physics, and the word quarks actually came from the James Joyce's notoriously difficult novel Finnegan's Wake, when there's one comment, 3 quarks for master mark. So nobody really knows what that means, but there quarks came from. And the same, for example, we have in upper secondary schools, we have STEAM, art meets technology, or art meets science classes, where you can study, for example, space photography and things like that. And our next slide, please. And there we can see another links. For example, some say that Cubism were never started without Picasso knowing Einstein's theory of relativity. Same goes with Dali and Surrealism. So art, science, technology, they are linked in globally in history, and also of course in STEAM Turku. But I think if I have checked my clock correctly, my 20 minutes is now up, and I think that's next slide says, no, it should have been my presentation said thank you, but now we go to the next chapter in our presentations. But from my behalf, thank you very much, and after the presentations from my colleagues, we can continue conversations. Thank you so much.
Hello, I'm Riikka Vuorinen, and I'm going to tell you about STEAM in early childhood education. We have about 80 kindergartens in Turku, and we are trying to get all of them to be excited about STEAM. We had this project where 10 older kindergartens, and our mission was to develop learning environments and awake mathematical and scientific skills and enthusiasm by making and by utilizing, for example, digital aids, and increase physical activity and functional learning. This project was funded by City of Turku and Finnish Board of Education. And during the project, we developed, among other things, for example, science rooms, science bags, robot and digital bags, Those was including, for example, various logical and geometric pieces, Bbot, Bluebot, and Kubo robots, and robot mats for elementary programming. For research and science education was acquired, for example, microscopes and magnifiers, various measuring vessels, pipettes, and etc. We also get digital equipments, for example, whiteboards and tablets, and electronic materials, for example, some applications. The early childhood education teachers produced supporting pedagogical activities to our blog. One of the ECE teachers said that the biggest wish is that children will have a natural relationship with technology, both girls and boys, and that children will find that devices can be used for much more than just playing. And that's something that we are trying to do. Then you can, yes. We have had these STEAM IT tryouts where teachers can apply little money for their STEAM tryouts. And some of these we have had collaboration with kindergartens and high school students. For example, like Matti said earlier, Kerttuli ICT school students organized robot days for 3 preschool groups where children are 6 years old in Finland. There, the students showed kids different kind of robots, and the children could also try it out. And there was like Bbots and different kind of Lego robots. They also took outside photo of the group with a drone. Children also get to make their own cleaning robots for empty milk cardboards and other craft stuff. And there's some photos of them. After this, we also organized some training on robots for early childhood educators. And in one high school, there was these science tutors, and they organized science day in one kindergarten. And there was different spots where children could, for example, study the floating and sinking of various objects, practice how to use pipettes and microscopes. They made some science experiments, and with this doll, they could see what the human body looks like inside. Next slide, please. And right now we are starting this science bag pilot. We have planned and organized science stuff and equipments, this so-called science bag, and starting to try it out in a few kindergartens, kind of how it works. Is the stuff good or bad? How it works with 3-year-olds and 6-year-old children. The purpose is also to collect science education ideas and models. And after this pilot, the idea is that kindergartens can buy their own science bags easily without thinking what to get, and also have an easy access to science education ideas. We have also a mission to get science education in our early childhood education plan and pre-primary education curriculum in Turku. And these 2 things are something that I am working with right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Riikka, and good morning and good afternoon to you all. My name is Olli Pekanheimo, and I am responsible for the whole comprehensive education in STEAM Turku, the pedagogical experts regarding this. And so straight to the point, next slide, please. We continue straight from early childhood education to the comprehensive school, and the guiding principles that we have are basically here. STEAM is for everyone, regardless of age and teachers' motivation. So we don't pick students, we don't pick groups to teach STEAM, we want everyone to know what STEAM means and to learn something related to STEAM, regardless of the teacher, because some teachers are good at science, some are good at arts, and some are good at languages. But regardless of the teacher's skills and knowledges, we want the students to get at least some STEAM in their studies. So the ways we are doing this in the comprehensive school, which means students between the ages of 7 and 16 years, we add STEAM so that it affects as many students as possible. When we do something, we want the effects to be large. And then we add STEAM to the structures of the comprehensive school, so we don't have to do everything all again next year. We want to make permanent solutions that emphasize STEAM in the studies of these students. And we also emphasize cooperation with companies and higher education. And you will see examples of all of these, and also how we include arts in the STEAM word in the following slides. So I will show you 3 examples of what we are doing in the comprehensive school. This is the first one of them. The headline is in Finnish, Juniori. AMK is an abbreviation of University of Applied Sciences. Juniori, I think you can also translate to English. So the idea is that all the 5th graders in the city of Turku visit the Turku University of Applied Sciences during the 5th school year. So it's about 1,600 students, and it depends on what the Applied Science University offers us, but they visit workshops, and the students there guide our 5th graders and tell them about what they are studying. We also encourage them to do different experiments there. So the 5th graders already have an idea that yes, Turku has a university, but we also have a University of Applied Sciences. This is one of the things I could aim for. And since the students at the University of Applied Sciences guide our students, they get a nice experience and it's more personal. This is one of the things we like to emphasize in STEAM, students teaching students. So it's always a win-win situation. We have a small video to show you of a visit from last autumn, where the 5th graders were visiting, one of the departments.
Aika kiva on ollut. Vähän hauskempi kuin ehkä hauskin retki, mitä on tehty. No, me ollaan katsottu nyt kaikkia huoneita ja tehty semmosia niinku kaikkia bakteereja ja miten voi tehdä jotain tutkimusta ja sitten verikokeita katsottu. Mä tykkäsin myös tuosta käsienpesuista, kun siinä näki, että kuinka paljon niinku, sitä likaa oikeasti jää siihen käsiin.
Joo, no kuinka paljon sitä jäi käsiin?
No sitä yleensä niinku, kynnen alle ja sitten kynsien päälle ja kyllä sitä jäi aika paljon sillä tavalla, että kannattaa pestä aika huolellisesti ne kädet.
Yes, I'm happy 5th graders there telling about their visits. Yes, let's go forward. One of the biggest projects that we have done under STEAM is what we call STEAM It. This started about half a year after STEAM started, right away when the comprehensive school joined STEAM. From the get-go, it was so popular that we have done it every year since the first time, and the first time was in 2018, I think. So we do this annually, and there are some teachers who have a vision, something they would like to do, something different they would like to experiment in their classroom, but they are lacking the equipment, or they don't have time to plan, or the school is low on resources. This is where STEAMIT comes in. Teachers come up with a STEAM project. They tell us what they would like to do, and then we fund it. And well, it yearly depends on the year how much money we can give them. But the money we give the teachers for their project can be used on new equipment, materials, and planning, etc. This, as Riikka told, includes also the early childhood education and also the upper secondary schools. So it's a very broad project spanning all the education of our students in Turku. This has been very popular. Usually we get over 20 applicants with their projects, and we choose as many as we can. And also one of the ideas behind this is that the teachers are required to report what they have done, and they are required to report to others. Usually this has been a very nice hands-on event where the teachers meet each other and they show what they have done with their STEAMIT project. But this year, of course, it was via via Teams. We had a conference where the teachers showed photographs and videos of what they had done, but distantly because of the virus. On the next slide, we can see some of the examples that STEAMIT has brought, and this is, of course, where the arts comes in. The first picture there is a unicorn, something the preliminary school students did. So they have made a unicorn. It's a little nap time light for early childhood education for kindergarteners who take a little nap between their studies in Finland, and they wanted a little light into the room. So they first made in arts and crafts, they made the unicorn, and with the STEAMIT project, they added LED lights to the unicorn. So it lights up, but not too much. The second picture is it's a kind of like a locked room mystery, escape room mystery with numbered locks, and the idea was that they used mathematics to solve different problems, to create problems and solve them, so they could open locks and get new hints. It is a nice way to study mathematics, and also a nice way to make students make their own problems, because it's always a nice way to learn mathematics. If you can make a problem in mathematics, you are learning much more than just solving problems. The third picture is a bracelet. It's a Father's Day bracelet that the kindergarteners made, and the upper secondary school students were studying binary numbers. So the teacher came up with the idea that as a STEAMIT project, they could order pearls and scissors and whatnot, and code a bracelet in binary language, which said something. And then they went to the kindergarten, and then they showed the young children how to code the bracelets, and the bracelet said something like "I love you, Father," or "Happy Father's Day," or something like this. So once again, it combines arts, and it combines the idea of students teaching students and so forth. And in the last picture, you can see different robots that the groups have made in one of the schools. Okay, one more example, and then I'm done. The mystery box is something we came up this spring. It's a cooperation, once again, with the higher education, the Turku University Department of Teacher Education. The teacher education students have planned a mystery box, which will be sent, actually yesterday they were just packing them, and they will be sent today or tomorrow to all the teachers who applied with their students. And the mystery box depends on the age group from up from early childhood education to the second grade. It contains a Lego set and some instructions that they have to make a robot that does something on a course that they have to plan for themselves. And for the older kids from 3rd to 6th grade, they get a little programmable microbits, some LED lights, some resistors, and some wiring, and they have to design a future skills device. And the teachers don't know anything what the box contains, and of course some of the teachers don't know how to use the microbit or the LEDs or the resistors. So we have already arranged a crash course for the teachers. If they wish to participate after they get the box, they also have a little course on how to use the microbits and the LEDs and the resistors. All right. This was also a fantastic success and something very nice to do during the lockdown in Finland, because the younger students are present at the school, 50 teachers enrolled in 2 weeks. So it also has a very large effect regarding STEAM. But these are the 3 examples I wanted to tell you, and now I will give my word to Nina regarding the upper secondary school. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, hello, I'm Nina Brander and I'm working with STEAM Turku and as a geography and biology teacher in our Turku High School. And you can put the next slide, Katri, thank you. And as you see, we will start with our new national high school upper secondary curriculum on next August. And it says that contacts with the world around the students and especially cooperation with higher education institutions, the world of work and entrepreneurs will be emphasized increasingly. So we have to change a bit and use learning by doing, experimental and experiential learning, problem solving, and of course develop new remote and hybrid pedagogical tools, of course, because of this last year. So we don't know exactly about the future and what kind of working life skills is needed. But what we do know is that the collaboration and cooperation and problem solving skills are very important, and that's in our STEAM core idea, of course. In Turku, we have 3 high schools specialized on STEAM. We have a natural science, marine tracks, and ICT tracks, and information communication technology track. Altogether, about 150 students every year start with these tracks. And of course, we have music, sports, and general tracks in upper secondary level. But all our high schools do collaborate with university now and companies already, and all of our high schools offer special STEAM courses, which I will tell you a bit more in a while. We have direct routes to universities, for example, studying with ICT tracks in Kerttuli High School, and by having 3 courses of coding, cybersecurity, etc., you will have entrance to university without any entrance exams or tests, for example. And what we have done lately, we have made with our upper secondary students new digital solutions and learning environments. And for example, this augmented reality application, which we made by our local students and a company called Control Reality. We made Oppi. It means learn in Finnish, and we have a short video about this. It takes 53 seconds. You can show it, Katri, and there's only music, so I cannot tell you a bit more at the same time. So we made this Oppi with our students, high school and upper secondary and university students, and we create characters here, what you can see in our hometown. Those are related to certain locations. Here you can see the wooden old ship in the river, and the old cat, medieval cat. They found the skeleton of this cat in the museum. And here we have an old prisoner who escaped from the prison. For example, we made these augmented reality characters, our students, and you can see those characters in the city, and of course there are texts and more content. So this content is made by ourselves, and the company offers the platform, and we are developing this Oppi application all the time. It takes time and years. It's like an ongoing process with different students, but it's kind of a development work what we like to do. On the next slide, I have examples here of our STEAM courses, and these are available for all high school students, and these are created by teachers who are interested in developing their work with STEAM. So we do support teachers' development work all the time, and this is voluntary. This is not obligatory. You can choose these courses, or you can choose to develop these and offer these new courses, and we will support the teachers' work. For example, here you can see we offer traffic physics course. This course is made by 3 teachers, and they study about engine, hybrid motors, and autonomous vehicle, transportation planning, so on. And of course, they study also attitudes in traffic. We all know that each of us is thinking that we are better drivers than average citizens, and that lies under many traffic accidents. So traffic safety and traffic psychology is also one point of view. On this nanocellulose and geopolymers course, they explore these renewable materials, recycling, and circular economy. Science meets arts. You can see in the down and corner, they do digitals, 2D and 3D drawings, fractals, and needle-like cameras, for example. And on the next slide, you can see that half of our youngsters choose vocational education and trainee when they are 16. And they study in institutions, and they do a lot on-the-job learning. The on-the-job learning period takes about a third of their studies. And they also do projects with local companies. And we have a new learning environment called Machine Technology Center Turku, and it's supported by companies and universities. And there the teachers and the students can learn together about robotics, for example. Vocational students have also an options for University of Applied Science courses, and they are developing direct routes to universities also. And last year we had this Beyond 2030 challenge. It was a big science competition for all second-level students organized by Turku City, Nordic, and Technology Campus. And during this innovation competition, university students worked as mentors for our students. And that was also a nice cooperation with older and younger students. The winning team created noise application in which you can avoid noisy routes in the city area and take instead peaceful way of your own. They got prize, was it 3,000 euros of it. And this year the competition will be expanded to a national competition. And we have here Katri also online who is taking care of it next year. So that's about the STEAMpad. And the last slide. So the picture shows that we try to increase the interest to this science and technology along the whole way to the working life. And you can jump in at any point or jump out or continue with local university or working life, but that's going to be the whole new path when you start your working life career. That's another story. But so thank you very much. you can put the last picture now, and thank you very much for this opportunity to share our STEAM Turku with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina, and thank you everyone else. I have to admit that those pictures from Turku made me kind of miss my hometown, but hopefully in the summer I will be back there as well. Now I have the pleasure of inviting my colleague Kevin Corbin, who is an education specialist in our Central Asia department, to give a few remarks about the STEM Turku presentation from his point of view. So Kevin, you are, I guess, in New York, so it's kind of the middle of the night for you. So a big thank you for you as well, jumping to our presentation in the middle of the night. So Kevin, please, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jukka, and everyone for presenting this. Thank you for sharing a very informative presentation on your work in STEAM and the STEAM Turku model. This is new to me. I've seen many other models, but this was quite interesting. I have to acknowledge first that I love any presentation that can integrate the Sex Pistols and the Terminator into a high-level education webinar. It shows that learning at any level really needs to be interesting, keep participants' interest, and be relevant. And those are really fundamental approaches to the transfer of knowledge. And those are things we're integrating into new teacher training and pedagogy trainings throughout our work. STEM is key to achieving SDG 4, as Jukka shared in his opening remarks, and ADB just yesterday had a deep discussion at the leadership level on how, while we're deeply distracted by the current pandemic and how it has set us back quite a bit, we must return our efforts to address the SDGs. And I think we all agree that STEAM education is an important aspect of that work and needs to be addressed to prepare young people for a complex future society and world of work. An important element of this, which we've been discussing in great detail over the last year, which the pandemic has forced us all to embrace, is the role of technology and ICT, both the infrastructure and skills for its use in education. So I like that you really addressed technology and its use in your presentation. As educationalists, we all know how important the arts are to building current and future demanded employability and social emotional learning skills. I think it's this area that ADB can benefit from STEAM Turku's lessons and practices. And we look to your work as a way to make the case for the arts. While not surprising for Turku or Finland, you're global leaders in education, it's very important to recognize your model's emphasis on covering the entire pathway of the learner from 0 to 19. So I deeply appreciated that and how you expressed that. Having a model that can ensure the horizontal and vertical integration and consistencies throughout those learning years is quite important to all, I think, all donors, but especially ADB, as we receive increasing requests from our developing member countries to address their STEM strategies and programming. I'm taking specific interest in the learning environment, the science rooms, the labs, the kits, robotics at all levels, et cetera, that you shared. And this is obviously a key aspect of ADB's work in Asia and the Pacific. We do a lot of work in curricular reform and accompanying teacher training, but it must be paired with an enabling learning environment, which is a particular challenge in the developing world context, where resources are quite lean. I'd like to follow up with you separately to discuss if you have advice on how to use sort of that cutting edge equipment, resources, kits, et cetera, but paired with training on how teachers and educators can use local equivalents and potentially virtual experiences to reach more learners in rural areas. They're just not able to continue to supply those types of kits to teachers in a classroom. So I'd like to maybe pick your brain on how they can come up with local equivalents and training around that. A few other comments and then I'll close up. I really noted the focus on participation, openness, and innovativeness. Those are terrific values that ensure inclusiveness and demonstrating that STEAM is for everyone. I liked that, that particular note. It's very Freirean and teaching that STEAM should be an exchange of knowledge between all participants involved. Having teachers creating content is something that we might also follow up with you on. It's a model that Moodle and other open source platforms are trying to address as well. And they run into issues around reviewing the content, who owns the rights to that content, etc. I think the model that you expressed and the Moodle model, where just having it be open source is sort of the most successful and fluid. So I think going forward, I think ADB and I am we're currently working on many proposed STEM projects and our research based upon requests from governments throughout Asia and the Pacific. We'll look to the STEAM Turku model as an example of how the arts can be integrated to address the theoretical, practical, and transversal skills that young people need in order to be successful in sort of the modern society and world of work. On that note, I just want to say thank you to the Education Sector Group for providing this presentation and to all that are involved in the STEAM Turku project. So thank you. Back over to you, Jukka.
Thank you, Kevin, for your kind words. And I think it's also very important that if possible, that we could use this information in our coming projects, especially, for example, the one that you are having in Kyrgyz Republic. Is there someone who wants to comment something to Kevin from the STEAM Turku team, or should we go to the audience if there are any questions or comments by the audience at this point?
Just very briefly, that thank you, Kevin, for your kind words, and you really got the basic, very fast, our basic ideas, and this is what you said, that these values and these things, that's really what we try to do. And of course, your words also convinced, and once again, that we are in many ways in the right track and I want to continue cooperation. And of course, I love that you like the references to Sex Pistols and Terminators, because my younger colleagues have never heard about this, for example, this ancient band, but thank you so much.
Age differences, maybe.
Yeah.
Thank you,
yeah, Jukka, can I say a few things?
Sure, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for organizing this excellent presentation. You know, we are talking about cross-sectoral collaboration, whole of government approach, ecosystem approach, what we call. And this is an excellent example of how different levels are coordinating, and also the private sector. My question is more about, there was a brief mention about cooperation with the Philippines. I think this came up at the first, instance. Michaela mentioned about it. Can we hear a little bit about that?
Yeah, Matti, please. I think it was in your presentation.
Sorry, can you repeat, because I had some problems with the line. So can you repeat your question? Sorry.
You mentioned about your cooperation with the Philippines. And I just wanted to understand whether this model is being sort of applied, or what is the cooperation about?
Okay, no, that's I talked about our transnational cooperation, which at this point mostly has been in European level. So we have a cooperational project with Scotland and Strathclyde University at Glasgow, and then a lot of cooperation in Baltic Sea environment, Baltic Sea region, and also in Italy. But this is kind of this. I mentioned that our cooperation with Philippines starts today, so hopefully we can find to continue. So this is first step, first 55 minutes to be correct.
Thank you.
Good, Rajesh. You have more, or?
Oh, that's it. I think we'd like to understand. I have many questions, but we don't have time. But I think it would be good to follow up. Jukka, back to you.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Rajesh. Anyone else from the audience? Do you have more questions, comments?
Hi, Yuka. This is Lynette.
Hi, Lynette. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much for this very fascinating presentation. It's really very exciting, actually, and I can imagine that all our clients in our developing countries would really be very stimulated in terms of learning STEM or STEAM, for that matter. My real question is that many of our secondary level students in Southeast Asia, for example, have very poor foundation in STEAM or STEM. And it's really a major problem because when they reach secondary education, they are they have difficulty catching up. So in the Philippines, for example, we have few elementary science schools and few science high schools, and these are the students who excel and they become doctors, engineers, top physicists. But the rest of the student population, science is really something that they dread. So it's not really a subject, or STEAM is not really a subject that they are proficient in, only because they have poor preparation, poor foundation. I wonder what you can advise to our countries who are trying to catch up at the secondary level. What can still be feasibly done in terms of remediation to make up for the lost opportunities at the lower level? But of course, your STEAM Turku gives us an idea as to the importance, for example, of starting early with all of these fascinating materials and technology and tools and instruction. So maybe we can also think about coming up with an initiative also in the early grades. But then my question was really how we can catch up at the secondary level. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lynette. Any comments from STEAM Turku team? It's not a very easy question.
Yeah, yeah, it's not easy question, but thank you for it. And I think the most cheapest and easiest way, if it's only possible you have there, is to contact university and try to kind of create cooperation and collaboration with universities, because the older students can teach also, and they can have a kind of a small workshops and give those workshops to the younger students, upper secondary students, and so on. It doesn't have maybe or needs so much resources, only that you concentrate and focus the work and collaboration with across the boundaries between schools and education levels. So that could be a small and easy start with and not the whole upper secondary students at the same time, but maybe few starts. And but I don't know if you have these possibilities to cooperate with university so easily than we have this possibility here in Finland.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank
Nina.
you. That's really very helpful. In fact, we were thinking, because we're designing a new Cambodia secondary education project, and we are also looking at cooperation with tertiary education institutions. So that's very helpful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I even remember when I was still teaching in Turku in upper secondary school biology, we went to the university genetics laboratory to do the basic genetics experiments, because in the school we didn't have this kind of facilities, and I think it was kind of a very basic example of the cooperation between the secondary and tertiary education.
Yes, and we are still doing that, the same thing, yes.
That's wonderful, yeah.
We have actually, it's 3 p.m. here in Manila, but maybe we can take, if there is one more question, so anyone from the audience? If not, I would actually suggest he's our chief of the education sector group was saying that he has many questions. So I'm sure we can still get back to you. And I was even thinking if Lynette and Kevin, for example, you find it useful, we could have like a deeper dive into this issue with STEAM Turku when we are planning our STEM projects in Cambodia or Kyrgyz Republic. So with the governments there, so that might be, for example, useful as next steps. But if you want to be in touch with them, so just let me know and we can exchange emails. But yeah, once more, thank you a lot for your time and commitment to Turku, and it's always happy to see that you are doing great work there. I don't know, we have also Lena here, who is our alternate executive director. Lena, you want to still comment something? I know you are in Turku probably also right now.
Thanks, Jukka. Yes, I saw that you were having this webinar, and the location of the STEAM work particularly caught my eye. As Jukka said, I'm located in Turku right now, which is also my study of study city. I went to Åbo Academy here a long time ago. Just to extend my very warm thanks to both STEAM Turku participants. It's really great to have this kind of collaboration initiated. Thanks to Jukka for initiating it, and also thanks to the whole education sector group within ADB. I think this is a good start, and I really look forward to seeing something more concrete coming out of it going forward, particularly like Jukka said, in terms of specific projects in countries where all these experiences that Turku can share can be tested and tried out in various environments. Obviously, our countries in Asia are very different from Finland, and it's not like one solution fits all. They have to be very specifically applied to those circumstances and contexts in each specific country. But I'm sure there's a lot to be applied and picked up in these various contexts. So really looking forward to what this can bring us going further. And thanks again to everyone.
Thank you, Lena, and sorry to bring you up all of a sudden, but yeah, I think it's a good way of cooperation. I will still take this opportunity to promote that on the 20th of April, we are having the next webinar, or we have many more, but I mean, especially important in curriculum, planning how to implement the new curriculum in schools by OECD. So please join that as well. But yes, we will be in touch, and thank you for joining today morning or today afternoon, and I wish you all a nice rest of the day. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you
So much. Bye.